for the elevation. As you see here, it points towards the elevation. So this one, if you double click on it, it will show you the elevation here. And similarly for the other one, of course, you can get also from the project browser. You'll see here 4 main elevations, as you'll see here, north and south, and the other one. So that because I have 2 blocks of buildings, it catches both of them. Some schools say keep the foundation to give an indication that there is, it shows you some information about the elevation of the foundation. Some school says like hide them in that element, so that you can, if you want to remove them, but you have to hide them in the view. Do not make delete. Hide them by category if you want to, and then hide your whatever below here. And if you want to just delete, mask it, you can still go to masking, and you do mask on the top of this, and it will not show any of these elements, so that you can still pick, and you can mask similar to what we have shown before, so that you mask the lower portion to the ground level in here. But you might also pick the lines of the ground level, and if you want to show it, you can pick that line and change the thickness of it to show it as a thick line, or you can make a region and fill this region with a solid line in order to show the ground level of your plan if it's not shown adequately in the elevation. Now, the important thing that I want to grab your attention to is these ones can be developed, by the way, from either you can click right by default, they will be created in the document or the template that you're working with. If you double click on it, you can create similar. And of course, here by clicking on it, you see that it splits segments. So if you want to create different depth elevation, you can split the segment here similar to the section that we make, and then move this back or forward according to where you want to cut it. But that is one thing. If you click on it, and then you can create similar, or you can go to the view, and that is the section, and that is the elevation. So that here is an elevation, and framing elevation means that it's going to be framed, but we don't care about this. We care mainly about this one. By picking the elevation, it will create it for you. This one is framing. That will create a frame, so that if you want to show a frame, the frame of your building, in that case you might find this useful. But for our architectural application, we have that. But pay attention that works like a sensor, so that if you have your building like this, it will sense the elevation, so that it will change position as we go. So that if we track it like this and go up, if you go here, it changes 90 degrees because it senses that the elevation is in there, and it goes like this. So that this is a useful thing. And of course, if you have also inclined walls like 45 degrees or 30 degrees, it will sense it and then readjust according to the 90 degree from that wall, so that you don't have to struggle with any projection. So that, for instance, if you have your building similar to what we explained last time, if you have any inclination in your building, you can track or trace the inclination of your building and then make your frame stopping at these elevations. So that, in other words, you will come here. Suppose this is my elevation that is inclined. It will sense it, and then you take it here and then adjust. Once you want to adjust it, you can adjust the limitation, so that if you want to stop here and stop here, it will ignore anything beyond these lines, so that it will not take anything beyond, so unless you extend it. So that if I do have, let me just to draw something quickly. If you do have walls like this, that is inclined a little bit, no problem. And these, and I make it that, so that if you have a mass like this and you start to take the view and elevation, you see that here it's inclined. It's not going to be according to the vertical and horizontal. It's going to be inclined with your wall. So do not worry about how to make this, because the projection is not allowed in this case. So what you do is that you create this, and once you come to it, I want you to limit what it sees, so that the domain that it captures, it will be adjusted so that it starts from that elevation and ends with the other. We'll start in here and stop right here, so that anything else here is not captured, because that would be a projection, which is not going to tell us more about this. So this is what you would do, and then you create similar, or you go here. I'm here. Let me just give you an example. This set the domain of this, right? By that is the horizontal ones only. If I click on it, it will give me just the linear portion or the 90 degree portion of my elevation. If I expand this, whatever is drawn here is projection, is not reflecting the real dimension of the elevation, right?
Yes, yes.
So this is what we want to avoid. We do not want to have our elevation capturing this portion, because this is reflecting unrealistic dimensions. If you do have windows, if you do have doors, openings, it will be projected, right? It's not going to be projected 90 degrees. It's going to be projected with an angle, so that it's not going to reflect the actual dimensions. That's what I'm saying, that you have to limit your elevations to the 90 degree views only. So that here it's limited to 90 degree, here it's limited to 90 degree of this wall, and then you create similarly the other ones and keep moving till you cover all of your elevations. Inclination in the view is not, it can be done, no problem, but it's not giving you information. Now we said that working drawings or construction documents from the beginning, it's not architecture representation. It is actual reflection of dimensions, materials, proportions, and other things that tell the constructor or tell the constructor what to follow exactly in order to have the building as the drawing. So that once you do something like this and you are putting a tree in front of the elevation, this tree will hide useful information, right? In addition, that if you are not projecting things that are 90 degrees from your view, this is not useful. Similar to have a section like this, so that if I draw a section and start my section like this and go into here, this portion from here to there is not reflecting anything, because that will be a mess. It's not going to show any space with the actual dimension of it, right? Because in this case, the line that you cut is making some angles with the spaces, and it was not going to reflect anything. And if you have a rectangle like this and you start to make a section in it like this, and you present it, is this reflecting anything useful?
No.
because if you show it, the actual windows here is not reflecting anything. The actual window is even, I cannot tell from the drawing what is the dimension of this window, because this is a projection here as well. The wall itself is also projected, so that it's not going to tell me any information. So that the section is reflecting dimensions. It has to reflect some useful dimensions. So that if you do it using this, it's going to be unneeded information. You're not showing anything useful. That's why also in the elevations you have to project whatever you see as 90 degrees, similar to what I just showed you. طبعا if you do have trees, for instance, in your elevation, you can pick it and hide it, or you can move this as close as possible to your elevation like that. And of course, once you locate the elevation, it will automatically write up the elevation number here, and it will show which information about where it's located in which drawing. And pay attention, since we shifted to the section and elevation, we started to use A2, not A1 anymore. A1 is for plans, A2 for sections and elevations, and make sure that you adjust the numbers based on this. This is also has a useful information by if you want to make an interior in your building and you want to have the interior like this. This now is, if you want to do the wall here, you don't have to create another one. This has a capability, if you pick it, you can mark the dimension or mark the sides that you want to show, so that each one of this is pointed towards one of the interior. So that if you're interested in showing this as an interior, you can just double click on it, and it will open up to you the interior that is shown in that room, and which is useful because in some, if you want to go into more details, if your interior space, you create lots of these into the spaces to reflect what is the dimensions, what are the materials. If you do have details in the interior, it might be useful also to show the 4 directions beside the room. But of course, once you place the room tag here, it's going to be crowded, so that you still can adjust this by, because this is a family, so that you can pick it, and then you can adjust the dimension of it in here and scale down if you want. But طبعا pay attention, there is a feature of if you have something in the view that obstacle, that make an obstacle for you, you can pick it and then hide it in this view. So for instance, if I do have anything that I want to hide, I can pick it and right click on it and then hide in view, and then pick the element or the category, so that if it's trees, you can select all of the trees by one click and then hide whatever is in there. So that these are 2 important things, that you do not have any obstacles in front of your elevations, in addition to do not make projections directly the elements of the wall, so that if you build your wall from something and you want to tag it, sorry, you can go to annotate and then tag, material tag, and you click on it here. It shows you that it's gypsum wall board. Why? Because the wall itself is made out of gypsum wall board. So this is the elevation. This is my wall, and if you go to that, you'll see that it's coated with gypsum wall board. Of course, this material I don't want to see it in the elevation, and you know why? Because of the sensitivity to water. It's not an exterior material. It's good for as an interior material, so that you have to name also your materials that is makes your building. So that if I, for instance, if you go to this view, and then here you can also tag material tag. You can come here, and that was aluminum cladding in here, and it shows you still can make elbows, and just to try to make your building, your drawing neat, not overlapping into that, so that whatever you have materials different, you still can go to it and then pick it and then make another tagging for it. I think we will talk about this more once we want to change the material. If you want to come up with your own material, you still can change it and then just edit what you want and add your own ones. طبعا the elevations is going to be created automatically for you. Whatever windows, doors opening you set you in the elevations, and in addition to the heights of the elevation, it will show up directly with reference of the levels and the sections, tags and lines.